Hello, my name is Gary Bouchon. I'm the director of the Electron and Confocal Microscopy Unit with the USDA in Beltsville, Maryland. I'm going to show you how to use the tabletop scanning electron microscope by Hitachi, a TM3030. This microscope consists of a stage, turbomolecular pump, as well as a roughing pump that's here on the floor. It also has a cooling stage in it by Debon, which is a Peltier stage, which will cool our sample down to a -25. It also has a computer screen, which is touchscreen, keyboard, and a mouse. Now I'm going to show you how we put a sample into the microscope. The tools that you'll need to put a sample in the microscope are a pair of scissors, a couple of pairs of forceps, your samples, an insect, or a leaf, or any other material that'll fit inside the microscope, your double sticky tabs, and your SEM stub, which is 12 millimeters in diameter. You also need a guide to be sure that your sample will fit inside of the microscope. The first thing you want to do is take a sticky tab off of a sheet, pull it off gently, apply it to your SEM stub. Make sure that it's stuck to the stub well. Then peel off the protective paper, leaving your sticky surface. Then you can take an insect and apply it to the tab. Just make sure that it's stuck to the surface well. Or you can take a piece of leaf, apply it to the tab, and just touch it to make sure that it's well attached to the surface. Then check to make sure that your sample will fit inside the microscope by checking with the height detector. Then you're ready to put it in the microscope. Close the door and push the evac button. If you find that using the standard method your samples shrivel, you can always use a cold stage, which will drop the temperature of your sample inside the microscope to a -25 degrees Celsius. At that temperature, your samples will shrivel much slower, which will extend the period of time you can use for observing your samples. You need a double sticky tab, which will attach to our sample stub, which is 25 millimeters in diameter. You need an adapter and an Allen wrench. The first thing you want to do is take your forceps and peel off the sticky tab from the sheet. Pull it off gently, attach it to your stub. Press it down to make sure that it's got good contact. Then peel off the protective paper. Then you can take your sample like a leaf, or if you have material that's liquid, you can put that on there. There's no special treatment you have to make on any of your samples. Put it in as is. Pick up your sample, put it on the sticky tab. Just press it down a little bit just to make sure that it's sticking well, making good contact. Put the adapter on the bottom and use an Allen wrench to tighten that onto the stub. From here, we'll put this into the microscope. Sample goes into the microscope. Tighten down with an Allen wrench. Then you have to cool the stage down with the Debon cold stage. You do that by hitting the go to -25, hit enter. You watch the temperature go down. Once it reaches 6 degrees Celsius, that's when you want to put your sample into the microscope by just closing the door. Close the door and push the evac button. You have to hold the door because the Peltier stage for the Debon is a little heavy, just to make sure you get a good vacuum. Now that the vacuum's been created on the microscope, you can take images. You hit the start button, and in 3 minutes you can start taking images. Once your image is on the screen, you can hit autofocus, and then you can move your sample with the stage controllers left and right, up and down. You begin at 40x. You can zoom in, clicking one button. After you have zoomed in, you can then rotate your sample. Zoom in some more. Center your image. Autofocus to be sure everything's in focus. Correct for auto brightness and contrast. You can manipulate it to increase your contrast or your brightness, and you can save the image. It takes 90 seconds to take one picture. Once the image is saved, you can give it a name. In this case, spider mite. After you save this image, you can go back and increase the magnification and zoom in on another structure of the mite. In this case, the base of a couple of CD. Do a slow scan. And then capture the image. Again, 90 seconds to capture the image. Again, give it a name. You can do a digital zoom on the images once you've captured them. You can move the image that's been zoomed, focus on any object of interest, in this case the mouth parts. Each saved image has all the data for how the image was captured. You see each image has its own unique number in the lower left-hand corner, the date that the image was obtained. It has a working distance of 6.3, a magnification of 1000x, and the scale bar on the lower right-hand side is 100 microns. This is a leg of a spider mite. Zooming in digitally, you can see that the quality of the images that are obtained with the tabletop scanning electron microscope are very good, so that you can zoom in quite well without losing any data for the image. You can zoom in on any part of the image that you're interested in looking at close up. There are a variety of samples that you can look at in the scanning electron microscope. Everything from fungi to plant surfaces to pollen, parts of flowers, insects, anything that's small enough that you can put inside the tabletop scanning electron microscope, you can look at without any preparation to the sample. Put it in the microscope, turn it on, and look at it. Let's look at some examples of things that we can look at in the tabletop scanning electron microscope. This is fungi on the surface of a seed. These are rust spores on the surface of a bean. These are fungal spores on the surface of a boxwood. These are germinating fungal spores. This is pollen from mint. This is a nematode, roundworm. This is a face of a nematode. These are arophyte mites on redbud. This is tuckerella mite or peacock mite found on tea. This is a thrips on hollyhock. This is the posterior of a thrips on hollyhock. This is an aphid. This is a psyllid on boxwood. This is a close-up of the face of a psyllid on boxwood. This is an anther dissected from a grass flower. This is a pistil from a flower of grass. This is a close-up of the pistil from a flower of grass. This is a seed from a coreopsis shrub. When you're finished imaging your sample, you want to bring the temperature of the stage back up to room temperature. So you just hit off, enter, and then the temperature will slowly rise up to room temperature. You want to do that to your sample so that you don't get any frost that forms on your sample. So if you want to put another sample into the microscope, you won't have frost that forms on the stage. Once your sample has reached room temperature, you're then ready to evac. Just push the same button. It'll take a minute or two for the vacuum to be released. Once the light stops flashing, you're ready to take your sample out. Use your Allen wrench to loosen it. The sample comes out, and you're ready to start with another sample.